What's up guys? Welcome to the video. Today we are baking. I don't think I've ever done like a dedicated baking video on my channel. There's definitely batter under my fingernail. I am a garbage person. Please hold. Okay. I don't think I've done a dedicated baking video on my channel, or at least it's been a long time, and this is a recipe that I make every single fall. I think this is like my 4th year making it, and every time anyone tries it off of like Instagram post, YouTube video, anything, they love it. And even people that are not like fitness, have like fitness taste buds or like diet taste buds, love it. I've used to bring them to like my volleyball team. Everyone would eat it. My parents love it. Like everyone loves it, especially if you're basic and love pumpkin spice in the fall. So without further ado, I present you healthy pumpkin bars. These are high in protein, low in sugar, high in fiber, just really well balanced and delicious, honestly. As you can see, I made them in a more like shallow pan, but you can absolutely make them in like a bread pan or multiple bread pans or like a square dish. You can do whatever you want. It is absolutely versatile, delicious, and with all that being said, let's get into the recipe. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and then gather your ingredients. You'll need 2 scoops of Snickerdoodle Select Protein, 1 can of pumpkin puree, 1 cup of oat flour. You can either buy it or make your own by grinding oats with a blender or food processor until it becomes a fine powder, also known as a flour. So you need 1 cup of oat flour, half a cup of almond flour, 1 whole egg, 1 tablespoon of butter, 1/4 cup sugar-free syrup, 1/3 cup baking stevia or Splenda, 1 teaspoon baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon baking soda, 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, and a pinch of salt. Once you gather all of your ingredients, all you have to do is essentially mix it all together. This isn't a high maintenance recipe where it's super technical, but I do prefer to mix the dry first just to make sure there aren't any clumps, especially in the baking powder and baking soda, because you definitely don't want to get a bite of those when you're eating your bars. After you get all the dry ingredients together, you'll notice I forgot the protein powder and I put it in later. So like I said, this is not rocket science, super low maintenance. So add your pumpkin and add your wet ingredients. If you desire, you can whisk your egg separately, combine your wet ingredients separately, but that is totally optional. I was just doing it for the sake of like being professional or something, but it's totally not necessary. At this point, I poured my wet into my dry, and then I remembered that I had forgotten to add my protein powder. So I added my protein powder on top of that, and then I folded everything together. And the key to this is just to make sure everything is combined. Since this doesn't have any wheat flour, it doesn't have any gluten in it, and it won't like bind up if you overmix it or anything. But I just like to fold it until everything is together. There aren't any dry patches, any overly wet patches, and the consistency is smooth. You'll notice that this ends up super thick, and that is exactly what we want because then it stays nice and moist and dense. These aren't like muffins, they are thick, dense bars. So you will spread that into a sprayed baking dish. I used a rectangle, but I actually prefer to make these in a square pan so that they're a little bit thicker and just a little bit more like heartier, I guess, but this is the pan that I have on hand. So I spread the batter out across all of it. You really want to make sure that you get it all the way into the corners and then it's an even thickness throughout the entire thing. Whether you're counting macros or not, you want to make sure it's even because then it will bake evenly. Once everything is good to go, pop that in the oven and set your timer for 30 minutes. Now that is totally going to depend on the dish you're using, your oven, so just be ready to check it periodically. If you're anything like me, you will definitely scrape out the remnants in the bowl and eat those while your bars cook. Once your bars look good and done, you want to grab those out of the oven, and basically the test that I use to see if they're done is that it has a consistent like springy texture when I tap it all the way around from the center to the outside. Not very scientific. Like I said, I am not a very serious baker or cook, so this is my method, works for me, and I chose to cut this into 12 bars. You can cut it into 9, do whatever you want, eat the whole pan, I'm not going to judge you, and obviously you have to try it fresh out of the oven because that's what free-spirited bakers do. I have the macros on the screen for you guys per 1/12 of the recipe, but again, you can cut it into as many servings as you want. Last thing I want to mention before we end the video is that you can also frost these or add like icing if you want. My go-to recipe for that is just to mix a little bit plain or vanilla Greek yogurt with a little bit of vanilla select protein, and that just makes like a nice vanilla cream cheese flavor protein frosting. So try that if you like your pumpkin bars frosted, which who doesn't? And another thing is don't forget to keep these in the fridge. I do really like them cold. They're also really good warm. And I might have eaten one fresh out of the oven, so they're good no matter what, frosted, unfrosted, hot, cold, room temperature, but just be sure to store them in the fridge with a airtight, like a tin foil or in a container. Alright guys, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe, and please do make them on your own. Like I mentioned, they are super easy, super foolproof, and a great segue into the fall baking scene, which, you know, after my own heart. Definitely try this recipe out. Like I mentioned, the PE Science Snickerdoodle Select or any flavor of the PE Science Select protein works best for this recipe. Use other brands and blends at your own risk. If you buy PE Science Select protein or are on the hunt, check out pescience.com and enter code Marie at checkout to save 30%. So shameless plug there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please give this video a like and let me know in the comments below if you would like to see more recipe videos and what recipes you would like to see. Thank you again. I love you, and I hope you have a great week. Mwah.